In the Indian national capital, New Delhi, were just getting adjusted to normal life. The authorities removed mask mandates for public spaces. Offices began operating in full capacity. Children returned to school, some even for the first time. Gyms, movie theatres were functioning as they did before the pandemic. But did the authorities make the shift to a pre-pandemic way of life too soon? 21 days after mask mandates were removed in Delhi, they are now brought back. The Delhi Disaster Management Authority has also imposed a fine of 500 rupees for any kind of violation of masks. Though schools for now will not be shut, the DDMA will issue separate standard operating procedures or SOPs in consultation with the experts. New Delhi has been witnessing a surge in COVID cases and positivity rate. Experts say that masks need to be enforced strictly. Over the past week, Delhi has seen a threefold rise in cases compared to 200 daily cases a week. New Delhi is now reporting 500 to 600 new infections every day. On April 11th, the positivity rate was 2.7. It touched 7.7 on 18th of April, and on Tuesday, Delhi reported 632 new cases at a positivity rate of 4.42%. Delhi's neighbouring states, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, have also imposed mask restrictions in selected districts neighbouring the national capital, with a fine on violating those rules. Experts say the science behind masks is clear and there for all of us to see. There is robust scientific evidence to prove that using masks provides the first line of defence against infection, and along with immunization through a vaccine, it could also help a country ride out any kind of fresh wave. Usually, when all restrictions go away, social mixing increases and immunity wanes. Well-fitted masks will reduce potential transmission. A Lancet study says that wearing face masks in public places and on public transportation modes weeks after the vaccine threshold is reached could save lives and reduce hospitalization. So with mask mandates back in New Delhi as COVID infections surge, will India's capital witness a return of other stricter restrictions as well? That is what we'll try and answer. And to answer this question, joining us now is our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, who is joining us live from the Indian capital, New Delhi. Siddhant, thanks for joining us. Now, as we understand, mask mandates are back. There is a fine for any kind of mask violation nearly 20 days, 21 days after they were removed. What does this say about mask wearing, and are more restrictions going to follow in the Indian capital?
Well, as of now, there are no indications by the authorities here in the Indian national capital over new restrictions. In fact, the schools remain open because we know that with schools opening, the students back in school, there is worry over COVID cases there. And of course, we know in Delhi suburbs, there have been noticeable increase in number of students, number of kids, in fact, getting COVID. But largely today is an important day in terms of masks back in the national capital. The fines being imposed if you're not found wearing masks in public places. But largely the Delhi Chief Minister has been taking meetings. In fact, he has directed officials to make sure that there is the following of the protocols, the COVID protocols. But largely this is because of the increase in number of cases. In fact, from April 13 to April 18, there has been threefold increase in number of cases in the national capital. And that's right. Also seen in large parts of the country as well. In fact, the Health Secretary has written a letter to his counterparts in UP, in Maharashtra, other places as well, to make sure that there is compliance when it comes to COVID protocols.
Right, absolutely. Siddhant, just very quickly, as you just pointed out, kids are heading back to school, and I think that is a primary concern for parents right now. Kids are largely unvaccinated. It's very difficult for them to wear masks when they're in classrooms, especially in the Delhi heat. So what can be said on that front? Is there a possible likelihood at this point that schools will shut down should cases continue to surge?
Well, yes, parents are very worried regarding their kids going to school, and of course COVID numbers increasing. But when it comes to the government, the authorities here, they have made it clear that school will not be closed as of now. We also know that the schools have opened after a gap of months. In fact, 2 years because of the COVID pandemic. Schools were closed, and this was impacting the education of many children. So opening of the school was seen as a positive development for many parents, but now they are worried over the number of COVID cases, and their kids might be infected because of the classrooms and of course closed spaces. So schools can be seen following COVID protocols very soon. There can be circulars inside schools regarding the following of COVID protocols.
Right, absolutely. Siddhant, thanks so much for all those updates. And we at WION would urge all our users to exercise precaution and put on that mask to protect yourself and your loved ones. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.